I saw some blue lights coming from the Green Acres subdivision, and I walked over there and witnessed a water rescue. So people were in their pajamas carrying their dogs. They had been pulled from their homes by the Jefferson County Sheriff's water rescue team. So they were unloading those homeowners, and they said they were heading back out. And that was just one of many boats. Every home in the Green Acres subdivision this morning is flooded. The Green Acres grocery store has at least an inch or two of water creeping in there, the donut shop here, and so I'm assuming as it goes deeper into the subdivision, the flooding is only getting worse. Cars just keep coming in with people that are going to the shelter, and obviously you see huge water rescue vehicles like this, the Jefferson County Fire Department. Woo! And it's intense out here. I tell you what, it just keeps getting worse and worse, and more people just keep flooding into the shelter here. We just had a truck of about 6 Jefferson County Sheriff's deputies that pulled somebody in from their home on their boat, and they loaded up immediately after and went right back out. So it's been a constant, steady flow of people this morning, and also a constant, steady flow of animals coming in with people. So we've got some more folks coming in from the Hampshire, Finette area this morning. I mean, Dana, it's just crazy how many people we've seen come in, and also how the rain has just gotten seemingly worse and worse.
Yeah, it has. Just when you think you're getting a little bit of a let up, it doesn't happen. And it's been a constant rain since we started, about 2:30, 3 o'clock this morning, if not even earlier than that. And the constant flow of people have also been again steady here at Grace Community Church in Finette. Children, elderly people, people that are have disabilities. We have again the pets that you were referring to as well. It's just an amazing way that they all come together in this scenario, and how they're doing it with such fluidity.
They have been out this evening doing as many rescues as they can, and you guys have come back to the shelter now. Please tell me what you've been doing out there, what you've been experiencing. What's it been like?
The water's just been steady rising. We're getting everywhere we can. It's getting so bad now we can hardly drive the truck down 365. It's getting really bad. It's the worst I've ever seen in my lifetime.
So this is a scary thing. I mean, you guys are literally just men who want to help. So you're clearly not equipped with all this rescue gear that we see our police departments and fire departments with. So for you, how scary is it to be out there just doing your best?
Honestly, it's scary. I mean, there's been a couple times I've thought twice about something, but I just, I'm here to help the community, so I'm going to do what I can do. And communities come together in times like this. It's hard. It's real hard. It sucks.
So what are you going to do now? Are you just waiting to kind of see if there's anywhere you can go with your truck?
We're waiting to make sure we can pass through to Hampshire to go help other families. That's where our families actually are. We're actually originally from Hampshire. We got sent over here to LaBelle Fire Department to help out. And we're just trying to get back to our families, but we can't right now. But we'll be there soon.
That's kind of how we feel too. The news crew here, we're kind of stuck here at the shelter too in Finette. So right now things are not letting up at all. So we're gonna hang tight here, as well as the rescuers. You guys can tell how insanely busy it's gotten here just in the past couple of hours since all of these rescues are now becoming a little bit easier with the sunlight. So a very active scene going on here, and you can tell the people out here are soaking wet. They don't care. These rescuers are here to do one job, and that's to get all these people to safety. And a lot of these people, I'm sure, called emergency services hours ago, but it just took them this long to make it out to them. And this is just in Finette. I mean, Finette's a small community. We're seeing this all over now. And in Winnie, slightly larger, more people there are dealing with this as well. But we can't even escape Finette to find out.
Yeah, and you know, it's not only happening there, and that's a very good point. It's also happening in Mauriceville. It's also happening in Vidor. It's also happening in Nome and China and all these different areas. And LaBelle, just down the road from you, the same thing. The high water people, certainly, like you said, they are geared up, and that's the way it should be. It's amazing to me. It's such a sad story because, Kelsey, a lot of these people are the same people that flooded out in Harvey, right? I think she may have lost her IFB there. She may not be able to hear us. But Dana may be able to hear us. And like I said, I know they're talking to these folks, and we've already heard this.
I can hear you, Dan. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was saying a lot of these people, Dana, sadly, are people that went through this with Harvey, aren't they?
Absolutely. And some of the people have gone through Harvey. Some have not. This is a lot of the people that we're interviewing, Dan, that come in and said that this is totally foreign to them, that did not experience this through Harvey. So, when we talk about the 60-plus inches of rain that Harvey produced, and then the amount of rain that this storm is producing, which obviously is not comparable. Whenever you look at the totals, they're in total disbelief that this is happening to them.
With the increased rain, we are seeing more and more and more homes taking on water. And I know, sir, you've been in here for a while this morning. You were one of the ones that kind of realized early that it's better to get out.
You're exactly right. We did go through Harvey. We weren't as panicked this time around, even though the water came up a lot faster than it did in Harvey. I'd say, my wife, she's, medically, she's not in good shape right now. She won't be able to have the brain scan she needs this morning. And we knew that we could come here to Grace Community and get help.
And talking to other people who have been showing up at the shelter, I know you were kind of discussing with some of the other people that live in this community that I keep hearing you say, wow, you're higher than me. You got water too?
That's right. Yeah, we have some good friends. They actually had stayed here at the church probably longer than anybody. They had lost everything when they were able to reestablish a home, on their land again. I thought to myself, there is no way. I mean, out of everyone that may have got this right, as far as with the flood stages and things like that, it would have been them. And then come to find out, I was very surprised to see him come in and shaking his head and telling me that they had flooded as well. It's unbelievable. I can't believe how deep and fast the water has risen here.
Rescuing. Yeah. We've been rescuing people, man. It's been like this since we woke up this morning. Just trying to help out, trying to get in there and help people out where we can.
How does this compare to Harvey with you guys?
It's worse. It's bad. It's bad out here, man. I don't know. Just trying to do what we can to help everybody out here.
And that's pretty much the mentality of it right now, guys. Back in the studio, I mean, the majority of the people that you see right now are private individuals. We've got personal watercraft, along with some of the law enforcement airboats, boats, and any way that they can navigate. Again, we're still witnessing the big, large vehicles that are able to navigate these roads too.
So we're just gonna kind of ride along with them, and he told me that he was just on I-10, and a lot of people are stranded in their vehicles but don't want to leave their vehicles, and a lot of people are also just hanging out in tractor trailers while they're stranded on I-10. So I wanted to kind of take you for a little ride so you can see what's going on here in Finette. You can see there are a ton of cars underwater along the road here. Almost every home here is flooded. It's a scary, eerie scene here along 365. Those are some brave souls. You can see how close the water is. And they're staying.
You sure? All right.
Whew.
We have video that KFDM's Kelsey Borzo grabbed earlier tonight. So great news coming from Greg Bostwick that maybe some relief in sight.
Absolutely. I think we're in better shape, yeah.
So this is from Kelsey. She shot this just a short time ago. This is from Grace Community Church in Finette, where she says more than 200 folks have come in. Many of them are wet. They don't have anything with them. They don't have shoes. They were rescued. This, she tells me, was an elderly woman who was rescued from her home and taken to the hospital, and the Coast Guard in rescuing folks there as well. She said, along with the Coast Guard, Texas game wardens were out, PA Fire even coming up to Finette helping out, along with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Department and Texas A&M Extension. A group came from Galveston, saw that we needed help, and drove some pretty massive high water trucks in to help folks in that area. Angel, how were you able to get there? Because we've heard it is not very easy.
You're right, Tiffany. It is pretty inaccessible out here, and that's an understatement because of the high water that has forced the interstate to close. Now, earlier today, Chief Photographer Justin DeYoung and I first started our journey by getting on a county dump truck that took us to this bridge over here, and then from there, we got to an airboat to get where all those stranded motorists have spent at least 2 days. Now, Sheriff Zena Stevens tells us that at least 300 people have been pulled to safety. Dania Moso, her dad, mom, and sister on the road moving from Houston to Pennsylvania, but their journey hit a wall Thursday morning, a wall of water.
We tried to track the weather, and it didn't seem like it was going to be like that big, but it ended up being a big storm.
Tropical Depression Imelda dumped a massive amount of rain. No longer could you drive down Interstate 10. It suddenly became a parking lot, and those in these cars and trucks, castaways on a highway turned island. Amari Soto is a truck driver from Miami. He tells us there's been nothing to eat. You can imagine we're desperate. Local first responders have been busy rescuing Southeast Texans from their flooded homes, but all of a sudden another crisis developing. Accidental storm victims stranded on I-10.
People have been frozen on highways for 3 days. Who'd ever thought about that? And so what do you do with this new population of people who are not familiar, most of them not familiar with our area?
As you can see, there's no telling when this water on Interstate 10 will recede or when the highway will reopen. But one thing that Jefferson County Sheriff Zena Stevens knew was that people that were stranded on the highway could not wait for that to happen. So she launched this massive operation combining boats and wreckers. At the same time, volunteers from the Cajun Navy shuttled water and food to the drivers and passengers while they waited to get rescued. This FedEx driver, one of those pulled to safety. How do you feel to be, rescued?
Fantastic, emotional.
But the rescuers also feel gratitude. Sam Barrick is here from Oklahoma. He brought his airboat to save lives.
It feels great. It feels really good. We're glad to be here.
Dania says for her, the ordeal was not a bad one. She and her family made a friend. A truck driver let them sleep in his rig. Southeast Texans have learned that disasters cause pain, but also bring us together.
I feel like there's two ways to looking at things, that like you can see it as we got stuck here, or you can see we got new friends together, like helping us to each other.
A lot of people coming together. In fact, to get us here this evening, we had some help from some dog rescuers from Shreveport. And as you can see behind me, it is still an operation that is ongoing. That is the Highway 365 bridge that goes over a very flooded Interstate 10. And I asked the sheriff how long this operation would go on, and she says until everyone who's stranded is rescued or until the water recedes. And hopefully that will happen sooner rather than later.
Tonight, a sigh of relief for the folks at Gator Country as one of its prized gators is finally back home.
KFDM's Quentin Hope reports how it took all hands on deck to get him home safely.
Oh, he's dug in. We need a head rope on him. Get a head rope. Head rope.
Just before noon Friday, Big Tex was found right in his own backyard by one of the interns here at Gator Country. When I saw the head, I like jumped back a little. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's a big gator.
A big gator indeed, nearly 14 feet long.
In the short time I've been here, he kind of is the face of gator country. Like, he's all over the place. He's set world records. He, in a way, is gator country for part of it. So it's a huge deal that he's back with us.
Back safe and sound, but not before making sure he's met with the entire gator country staff. I even offered a little assistance.
Keep going.
Go, go.
It takes an alligator of that size right there to make a drag trail like that.
The storm's floodwaters were so high, many gators, including Big Tex, wandered off. But there was never a doubt in Gator Country's owner, Gary Sarge, that his best friend would find his way home.
This alligator belongs to Southeast Texas, and I'm so glad that we got him back. He's an icon. That animal is literally a world record as far as a live alligator ever caught. So I can't say enough. I thank everybody out there, and it could not have worked out any better. Outstanding, guys.
Texas Park and Wildlife's John Warner.
I was confident that it was not going to stray very far and that it would turn up sooner or later. That it turned up this close to the facility is a huge win, though. Again, couldn't have ended better.
For the staff, the day is over. After hours of getting the big guy home, they'll go back to remodeling. For Sarge, he's back to making more changes to assure Big Tex and others remain home.
We're putting up an 8-foot fence all the way around this, so if we get another one, that'll stop it.
In Beaumont, Quentin Hope, KFDM 6 News.
And Gator Country is asking for volunteers to help them remodel after Imelda. From 10 o'clock tomorrow morning until 5 tomorrow, they will have food for those who come out, including, this is the best part,
yes,
you'll get a lifetime membership at Gator Country if you turn out tomorrow to volunteer.
Give Quentin some credit. He's out there yanking that gator, 900 pounds,
he got
14
his workout
feet?
today.
Yeah, good
absolutely.
Job.
It was up to our kneecaps that day, and it just kept rising.
Feet of water surrounding Winnie neighborhoods, a sight all too familiar for these families.
We actually bought that camper during Harvey because we were displaced for probably close to 6 months. Happy reunion, moving back in.
Bobby DeYoung and his family were living in their newly rebuilt home for just over a year when Tropical Storm Imelda hit.
Stayed calm, ate dinner, went to bed. My daughter comes in and says, hey, we got water coming in. And it just started rolling in again. So got all our kids and our animals safe and just packed up and left. All we could do.
And now the DeYoung family is coming back to see how bad the damage is this time.
My wife's worst nightmare came true again.
It's stunning to see. And just 2 years ago, we had all the same thing going on.
Congressman Babin visited Winnie residents. His message to the public, it's time to lean on your neighbor once again.
Keep your chin up and help your neighbors, help each other, and that's exactly what's happening. We've got folks coming in from out of state, out of the county. We got some great guys over here doing some barbecuing.
At least 1,000. Yes. If not more.
Winnie Dodge is now one of those shoulders flood victims can lean on. The owners have turned their dealership into a distribution site for food and supplies.
We weren't prepared for this, like no one in town was, so they're pulling these people from their homes and they had nowhere really to go. They didn't have the supplies set up, so we were getting stuff together from the second we got here.
Families flooding, suffering devastation. Imelda has destroyed property, but strengthened an entire community.
No matter what the catastrophe is, we all stand together, and it's heartwarming. It's great. It's amazing that we live in such a great state that people do that.
We're gonna survive. Like, this town will survive.
In Winnie, Cassidy Wood, KFDM 6 News.
Even for me, being out in Finette that night covering the storm, I remember how relentless and frightening it was. And we were safe at the temporary shelter inside Grace Community Church. But I remember seeing all the first responders bringing those flood victims in and witnessing emotional moments like this. Torrential rain, piercing lightning, and fierce winds. The conditions that Wednesday night and Thursday morning were intense.
It was almost instant. It started raining severely, and everything flooded very quickly to the point where we were kind of behind the curve trying to get people out.
Captain Jerry Lowe is a helicopter pilot with the Jefferson County Sheriff's Office. The night of the storm, he was among the first crews out in a boat, responding to cries for help on Gaulding Road near Finette.
It actually looked more kind of like the Gulf because it was white capping waters with the wind blowing, and it looked nothing like it does today at all.
He says the rescues that night were chaotic, just trying to keep themselves safe in the process.
Imelda, probably out of all the storms we had, to me was one of the most violent storms that we'd ever worked in, as far as the lightning strikes. And our boats were actually pulling in and tying off at a house to try to take refuge until the tornadoes would pass, or the twister, and then get back in the boat and continue the rescues.
Major Dante Miller was also in Finette, his crew rescuing people out of the Green Acres subdivision.
Actually, it is me.
I showed him this video that I recorded of a rescue off of Highway 124 around 2 a.m. He says watching this video brings back a whole new set of emotions.
I look back now and I think about the lightning strikes and everything, and I'm like, a normal person in my normal mind wouldn't get out and just jump in lightning, but we didn't even think about it.
Then I showed him this. A simple gesture of gratitude a few moments after he rescued this woman from her flooding home. And I thought that was the sweetest moment. Out of the hundreds of people rescued, Major Miller remembers exactly who that was.
We actually couldn't get a boat to her house because our boat started taking on water. And instead of waiting and letting that water drain out, Captain Walker, and he stepped out the truck and he said, "Hey, let's go get her." And she lived probably a half a mile down the road. So we walked in chest deep water. We got down to her house and it was way back there. She didn't want to leave her animals. She had a cat that weighed 25 pounds. So I took the heavy cat and Captain Walker took the other cat, and we had to carry those cats in her property, whatever she can grab, a half a mile back out.
So how's it make you feel to look back on that? I mean, you remember it happening.
Yes.
But to see it and
Yes.
to see how thankful she was.
It was a great feeling. It's a great feeling to even watch that video now and just think about that night now and just what all was going on. And it's just great to know that in a time of need, we got good people.
Looking back at these moments, we can't help but be so thankful for our first responders.
All you're thinking at the moment is we need to get out here. There's people calling, they're asking for help, crying for help. And I think, you just think, we gotta go help them.
But the rescuers tell me it's these people, the ones who are barefoot, soaking wet, and in dire need of help, that they still have a sense of pride for today.
And everyone was so patient because it was raining and lightning and no one ever complained.
No one expected it to get that bad here to begin with. And then it got that bad, but it got bad quick here.
Of course, there were hundreds of first responders putting their lives on the line that night. And I wanted to take a moment and say I was impressed by every act of heroism I witnessed, especially Pastor Mike at Grace Community, who was coordinating rescues with the fire department. He was out in the storm helping people, all while running a shelter. He really stepped up and made a huge impact in Finette that night.
13-year-old Bo Piku, 13-year-old Lane Elrod, born 1 week apart, unrelated and inseparable, even when they're riding every single day.
When we get a chance to rope something, we get excited because when we get to rope, it's just fun.
Roping came in handy after Imelda dumped more than 40 inches of rain where they live in Hampshire Finette.
Our cows got out, and so we kind of had to start getting our cows off the road. And that's how we ended up helping our neighbors and stuff.
It started with helping neighbors, but after answering a call from Jefferson County Livestock Deputy Donald Stretch Metz, these two young cowboys got to work and haven't stopped.
He was like, "Well, there's 2 more black calves down there. Can y'all go down there and rope them for me?" And me and Lane are like, "Oh yeah, we'll do that." So we ride down there.
2 years ago, the boys, 11 at the time, helped Stretch during Harvey. They worked at Ford Park, taking care of rescued animals. This time, they're old enough to get in on the action.
He was like, "Yeah, so since you've seen this, if this ever happens again, I'll let you do it." So this time I could actually help and do all that. I knew that we could do it, but we just had to try.
This picture, taken just a few days ago, is one of the boys' rescues.
Lane's rope starts coming over the top of me because she starts running. So I dropped down under the water because I was about to get clotheslined, and my hat came off my head and it was just floating. And that's when I lost my phone. It was a little scary, but when When you got that much adrenaline rush, it goes away, it seems like. You just don't think about it or nothing.
Two 13-year-olds saddling up to help their community the best way they know how.
I know a lot of people lost their houses, and that's not good or nothing, but I like to do this every day, you know.
Belle Price Elementary on Blanchette Street in Beaumont's South End is closed. Tropical Depression Imelda flooded the school.
Hi, how are you? Did you need any?
But that did not stop teachers and students from showing up and handing out donations to storm-weary neighbors just starting their recovery.
If you drive around the neighborhood, you see the devastation. And Phil Price is right in the heart of that community. So to be able to offer resources to them during this time, you know, it makes us feel good.
Debris piles in front of nearby homes show the devastation, and this line of cars stretching for blocks reflects the need. Their neighborhood school, an oasis of hope for families desperate for the basic necessities.
We just wanted to be here just to show some love and to help in any possible way that we can. Times are hard and it's rough right now, but it's just all about coming together and acting as one.
Beaumont ISD surveyed its employees about Imelda, and while not all have responded, an initial estimate shows Imelda impacted at least 200 of them, including cafeteria worker Brenda Griffin.
Make me feel wonderful. I wish I was out here helping, but I'm on a mission to get for my nieces and stuff what they need.
The American Black Cross is the charity organization that provided the donations.
That always makes it easier on everybody else when the people who are actually in need are actually helping and are happy about what's going on. They're giving back to people who are in the same need as them.
The BISD strength shown here inspired those who brought the items.
You don't look like what you've been through. Everybody got a great attitude. They look great.
And BISD Superintendent Dr. Shannon Allen is counting on that spirit to continue, especially for the campuses of Belle Price and Beaumont United. Imelda hit both schools hard.
Beaumont United, not the entire campus, but many parts of the campus were impacted. Phil Price, it was the entire campus. So it makes me really sad. But we're resilient in Beaumont ISD and in this entire community. So we know we're going to bounce back. We did it before with Harvey, and we're going to do it again.
In Beaumont, for the morning show, I'm Angel San Juan.
Kind of walk me through, I mean, you were telling me, you know, earlier at like 4 o'clock this morning, was it your daughter that woke you up? Or?
Yes, my 13-year-old, she had woke me up like 4 or something, and she was like, Mama, the water is in the house. I'm like, oh, okay. We hopped up. I called I called 911. I called the emergency rescue team. I called a lot of people, but it was like nobody could get to us.
Yeah, and so it took how long?
Oh, about 8 to 10 hours before anybody come rescue us due to the water was high. I was by Carly and 6th Street.
Wow. And so, I mean, that's just so devastating for you and your family. But now, you know, does this kind of make you want to move out of Beaumont, move out of Southeast Texas, or what now?
No, you can't really predict, you know, water, rain, and stuff like that. I just got to live day by day and see what's in the near future.
Definitely. Well, thank you so much for your time. So, yeah, again, right now, the main shelter for people in Beaumont looking for shelter is here at Central High School. They are slowly trying to phase out the Civic Center, and by the morning, the Civic Center will be closed. So, again, Central High School, the main shelter for anybody in Beaumont. For now, live in Beaumont, I'm Cassidy Wood, KFDM 6 News.
There are about 40 men and women down here at First Baptist Church in Nederland, and they are preparing about 3,500 meals today that will go out to different feeding sites. So you can see them behind me here working hard in their field kitchen that they've set up. And Gary, this is something that they will be doing all week long. The Red Cross is getting these meals that you've prepared out to the public that needs them.
Yes, they will be leaving here and probably within the next hour, heading out to the different areas. I think they're going to Finette, Winnie area, Biter, Orange, several areas. There's nine routes going out this morning.
And this is something that you guys are staying here for a while to do. This crew might leave, but you've got a relief crew coming in, right?
Yes, we try to do a rotation about once a week. We spend about it takes about a 10-hour day to get that kind of meals out, and so after 7 days, you're pretty well spent. So we try to get a relief crew to come in and get everybody